All right, listen, I'm ready for it. I am about to make some people feel some kind of way. Some people are going to get mad at me today. Listen, I'm ready for it. Has Naples, Florida lost its appeal? Has it become the bridesmaid and no longer the bride? Has that actually happened? Now listen, I have been a real estate broker for over 26 years, and I have spent a predominance of my time in Southwest Florida and moreover, mainly Naples, because Naples has always been the place that everyone requested. I can remember years back where if it did not have the Naples zip code, don't even tell me about it. I don't want to live there. Bonita Springs, who? I only want to be in Naples with that zip code. And then as things started to progress and people realized that, maybe they cannot live in Port Royal, maybe they can't live in downtown Naples. So they started to feel like, okay, fine, I'll go to North Naples. And now listen, I can remember people saying, agents, my colleagues saying,
North Naples, I don't even go out. I don't go that far. I don't go.
You are talking about from downtown Naples to North Naples. Forget traffic. Now traffic, different story. But like as the crow flies, as they say, you're talking about in a car. If there were no traffic, it's probably a 10-minute drive right in that range, maybe a little bit longer, probably not. But people didn't, it felt like the middle of nowhere. I can think of businesses that moved to save a little bit of money, like little diner type places that moved from North Naples, right there on the edge of Naples. They had that Naples zip code and they moved literally right over the border to Bonita Springs. People wouldn't go there and they closed down. Crazy stuff. No longer is that going on. People started to understand that Naples is big, and when you refer to Naples, it's a much larger territory than what people used to think about in their mind, which was basically just downtown Naples. Not the case anymore. But as expansion has happened, here's the thing. I get less and less and less people that want to live in Naples. They want to be in the one-off. They want to be in the undiscovered. They want to be ahead of that curve so that they're not buying something underwater right off the bat. Now listen, before you get out your fake account and you start typing horrible things to me and telling me
You know what, Barrett? You do not know what you're talking about. I am 78 years old and I've lived here since the dawn of time, and it is paradise.
I believe you, Earl. Trust me, I believe you. But maybe this video is not for you, because I'm telling you what most people are thinking. You're probably going to make a killing on your property and hand all that money down to your heirs one of these days. Hopefully not for many, many years. But what we're talking about today is on the curve of 2024 moving into 2025, has Naples lost its appeal? And we're going to talk about why. All right, so here are the top 6 reasons that many people are saying they feel like Naples has lost its appeal. First is the overdevelopment. Who remembers this? I know there's many of you, even if you just visit Naples. It used to be a place where you just felt like you could take a deep breath. It didn't feel like a big city. And it's not a big city, but it's kind of a city in a small city, if that makes sense. It is so overbuilt and crowded now, especially as you get down into the area in and around the downtown area. It takes hours to get down 41. It's so difficult to navigate. And I would just tell you that if you don't know this, Drive Livingston, it runs parallel to 41, and it's much more residential than business, so you can navigate better. You know, Naples is pretty much just a grid, so it's easy to kind of get around, but not easy if you factor in traffic. So the overbuilding has really choked out that Naples appeal for a lot of people. Second thing is that tied into that overbuilding is that phenomena has kind of caused a loss of that small town charm that Naples always had. It always felt like you could go to a 5-star restaurant in flip-flops. It always felt like you could go to the beach and you didn't have high rises up and down the beach like you tend to see in, say, somewhere like Miami. Beaches similar to Wiggins Pass. Now, Wiggins Pass in North Naples has been hit by a couple pretty strong hurricanes that sort of changed the landscape of that a little bit. But even Vanderbilt Beach, those beaches used to be so calm and so beautiful. And like I said, Wiggins Pass used to be one of my favorite beaches. I used to go there in the morning and grab my easel and just paint. And now it's crowded. It's hard to get around and navigate in there as well. The parking has gotten really tight. It's kind of like the cat is out of the bag everywhere, and the difficulty of even getting there because the traffic is so tight. I've heard from so many people that if they don't get up and go to the beach at 8 o'clock in the morning, they're just not going to go because you can't navigate through traffic. Gone are the days where you could just kind of hang out on the beach and you could look forward to the water, you could look behind you if the sun was that direction, and you weren't looking at these tall buildings. Now, they're pretty much everywhere. Number 3, the rising cost of living. Now, I am not suggesting to anyone that Naples has ever been inexpensive. Not too long ago, I mean, we can go back probably 15-ish years, and I can remember many communities, single family home, where you could get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath pool home for under $300,000. Lots and lots of choices. That is gone. Those days are absolutely gone. If you're under $300,000, that's if you can find any single family home, it might not be in an area that you love. Condos. Lots and lots and lots of condos that you could buy for under $110,000, $115,000 anymore. Those days are just gone. They aren't out there. And if you see them, the condo fees are absolutely through the ceiling to the point where you're wondering, why would you even buy that? Because you can at least pay a condo off eventually. But if the fees are $1,000 a month, you're never going to get to a spot where you feel like, I can comfortably retire here. Now listen, some people can. I'm not talking to everybody. But if you're somebody that's just saved for your whole life and you've got $125 that you can spend on a cute little 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom condo, you're not going to find that. And if you find it, it's probably in a golfing community where, because generally speaking, in pricing, you're either going to get the real estate or the fees. It's generally going to be one or the other in those lower price condos. So if you find something, I can think of a couple communities that are under $150 in Naples, but the condo fees are $1,000 a month. So what good does that do anybody? Number 4, the luxury builds. The luxury builds have shifted the vibe to exclusivity. Let's just put it that way. Not everybody can afford it anymore. The cover charge of getting into Naples, Florida is really, really high. And that's one of the things that ties itself into the loss of appeal. You want to have a community that can appeal to everyone. And listen, if you don't agree with me and you're like, you know what? I just want to be with my people. I want to be with other people that spend all day golfing and having caviar at lunch. That's what I want. You can find that. Let me ask you a question, Earl. Who is going to be the wait staff for you? Who is going to do your massages? Who's going to do your laundry? Who's going to cut your grass? Who is going to paint your buildings? Who's going to do all of this? Because if you think that people are going to drive an hour in, 2 hours in to do a job that pays a wage that they can't afford to live and take care of their own family, it isn't going to happen. I always say the Achilles heel of Naples, Florida is that middle class, that strong middle class is missing due to affordability. Now listen, you may feel some kind of way. You may agree with me or disagree with me, but I'm telling you, as somebody that's been there for a long time, there are gaps in those fields, because you've got people that are retired. They've already made all their money. And then you've got people that can't afford to live in Naples. And then you have people that have scraped and they took their 401k and they're in, let's just say, a $250,000 condo and they're making it work and they love it. You have to have enough people that are hairdressers, that are mechanics, that are general contractors. You need those people to make the city go round and function properly. Number 5, are we on number 5? Something I never hear anybody talk about, and really it's the environment. It's the beach erosion. Erosion from these storms that have come through, and I'm not talking about just hurricanes. A big tropical storm will do this, where you lose half your beach because it just got taken away, and it takes years sometimes to bring that sand back. So what ends up happening? Well, your beach is significantly smaller. Less people can go to the beach, and people don't think about that. I know we're talking about Naples, but Bonita Springs, if you live in Bonita Springs or Estero like me, and you go to the Bonita Springs beach, you go to Barefoot Beach, you will notice that the parking it is not even close to enough parking for everybody, anybody, half of the people, a quarter of the people to be able to go to the beach. That is somewhere where you really do have to go to the beach at an early hour in order to have anywhere to park. Now, that is a reason you may be thinking, well, what am I supposed to do? That's a reason that a lot of times, like especially in Estero, there's an area where you can buy, if you buy a home or a condo in this specific area, it's called the Brooks, and it's a pretty decent sized area. If you buy a condo or a home in this area, then you can join what's called the Commons Club, and that has a beach club. Pelican Bay in Naples, you can join a beach club. It comes with certain communities that you can buy in. So there's ways around it, and then you have your own private beach club. Bonita Bay would be another one for Bonita Springs. So there's ways around it, but what there is no way around is the crowds. It's just so crowded, and I do hear a lot of disappointment from people that have trouble getting on the beach. And then the last one, number 6, it really is a culmination of all the things that I just mentioned. I so commonly hear from sellers that I work with, I always ask, why are you moving? And a lot of times I hear, what it used to be, it no longer is. It doesn't appeal to me in the way that it used to. The traffic is too much. It's changed. The overall landscape has changed. The feel has changed. I just don't feel that paradise feel anymore. So number 6 is really a culmination of all of the things we just talked about. There are so many other places where you can still get that small town vibe. And as I always talk about, the one-off communities, as I said, you've got Venice, Nokomis, Englewood, you've got Estero, you have maybe for some Punta Gorda. There's other towns that may appeal to you. There's been people that moved to Northport and really like it because they want a little bit more land and no HOA. There's other areas that might appeal to you. You can even think about going inland. If you don't mind driving a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even longer to the beach, there could be some areas that appeal to you there as well, a little bit more inland. And the other thing about going inland is not only is it not as built up, you can get a little bit more land, but also your risk for hurricane damage, at least you tend to eliminate the storm surge. There are still going to be areas that are low-lying. You still have to think about floodplain, but you do mitigate your risk a little bit. So those are just things to think about. As always, I always offer you my help if I can help in any way. All of my contact information is down below in the description box, but at least that may give you something to think about as you navigate all things Florida Move.